Your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, straight game TV. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. Wait for the people to come up in here. I got something for you, man. And I think a lot of us are looking at this the wrong way. And we got to look at the origins and from which it started. Waiting for my folks to come up in here. We're going to talk about this. Kevin Robinson. Check new account first. Let's talk about it, y'all. We missing a lot in this. People wanting to jump to conclusions real fast. Nico Shorty, Karan Hawk, Allen, CMW 662, John Serrano. What's happening? I want to touch on some things, man. How soon we forget. How soon we forget. I'm gonna start it off with that. What up, Allen? How soon we forget. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were, or if you're old enough, iconoclast, what's happening? If you're old enough to remember back in the early 90s, 1994, I believe it was, when Tupac Shakur was arrested. JJ, what's happening? Joe, what's happening? When Tupac Shakur, Jamie, what's happening? When Tupac Shakur, if y'all remember back in the day, if a lot of you guys are old enough, remember back in the day when Tupac was arrested for the situation that allegedly happened in New York, right? I don't know if you guys remember what the climate was like for Tupac at that particular time, right? What's up, Carmel King, Jamie, MJMB, Miss Matthews, what's happening? Let's go with these facts, absolutely. So like I said, I'm gonna start it like this. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day when Tupac was arrested in New York. Remember, he had got off for the thing in Georgia, right? No charges based on the fact that, you know, the gun that they had, the off-duty police officers had, the gun that they had it was stolen from the evidence locker, right? So something nefarious going on. I just want to point out something nefarious going on before the actual situation that went on when Tupac was helping out the young man, right? We deal with that. But then a few months later, Tupac gets into this situation in New York with the young lady. A young lady, if you watch the interview that Tretch just did with the Art of Dialogue, had been dealing with Tupac for a while. You know, so much so that Tretch said that sometimes when Tupac would come to New York, he would go from Jersey to the hotel and take him whatever he needed, and so on and so forth. Take Tupac what he needed. But Tretch said he was familiar with the young lady, who had alleged that Tupac had did something to her, right? In which Tupac went to court, was sentenced to go to jail, but not actually for what they actually charged Tupac for. Once again, they had overcharged Tupac. They gave him a plethora of charges, if you will, hoping that Tupac would take a plea in that case. But Tupac refused, right? Do you remember what the media was like for Tupac at that particular time? There was no social media. Man, the media was horrific on Tupac at that particular time. And mainly because they were mad that Tupac had escaped the situation in Atlanta. And so The situation from which a girl that Tupac had had consensual relations with had been seeing for a while, if you will, right? Here comes an accusation of something that was unbecoming that Tupac allegedly had did to her, right? On the night in question, there was no um intercourse. This was proven in court. There was no intercourse. There was no semen. There was no nothing found in regards to anything that Tupac had did to the young lady at that particular time. But I'm trying to get you to understand something with this Diddy situation, and I'm not trying to say that he's innocent by no far stretch of your imagination or mine. Just listen to what I'm about to tell you. The media came down on Tupac horrendously. They was calling him a rapist. They was calling him, all kinds of names in newspapers. Donnie Simpson from BET, was behind bars on BET. He was like, "Well, who am I?" And he bust out laughing. I'm like, "I'm Tupac." Ha 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 ha. I'm talking about, you would not believe, if you weren't, back doing then paying attention to what was going on, you wouldn't believe how the media treated Tupac, not knowing whether what they were saying about Tupac was true or not. He was still going to court. You remember Tupac came out that one day after court and was talking about the evidence that they said that they had against him, right? Tupac was said there was no semen found, there was no nothing, there was none of that. Um, and basically what the trial was about was this loud thug and him being a thug and rapper and so on and so forth. So it was basically they were playing to the stereotypes of what the jury would hold at that particular time of who Tupac was, right? So now Tupac gets convicted, but he doesn't get convicted of what they actually charged him with. He gets convicted of a lesser, some touching the buttocks of a woman that he had had sexual relations with on numerous occasions prior to the situation happening. Listen to me, man. Other people were charged. Haitian Jack, um, Tupac's manager at that time, whatever. But the only person that was actually sent to jail and made to suffer from that situation, whom they said other people were involved in, as Tupac said in that interview that he did, he was like, so, they say I was in concert with some guys, but where are they? And he was saying, I didn't want them to go to jail. But like I said, but if I was in concert with some guys, then where are they? Right? Tupac was the only one to suffer from that situation, in which he was the only one that had a real relationship with the young lady in question. But like I said, the media crushed him. I'm talking about crushed him. So much so, in the song Fuck the World, Tupac said, who you calling rapist? Ain't that a bitch? You devils are so two-faced it. Want to see me locked in chains, dropped in shame. Listen, that was Fuck the World. Now, let's deal with the Sean P. Diddy Combs situation, because I don't think Sean P. Diddy Combs learned nothing from Tupac when he should have, in relation to how things can go. Now, the origin of the problem started from the guy, Lil Rob. The Cassie situation was different, because the Cassie situation was somebody who Sean, Puffy Combs had a real relationship with. I understand what she did. I understand it. And like I say, I agree with her doing what she did. But at the time she was dealing with Puffy, everything was good. And whatever they were going through, they were going through. That was their relationship. And you can have a relationship however you want to go through it too, in dealing with that. She felt like she, was wronged and was made to do a lot of things that she didn't want to do at that particular time. And the only people that truly know about that is Sean Puffy Combs and Cassie, and the people that participated in it. And what showed me that Cassie had some kind of truth to what she was saying is how fast Sean P. Diddy Combs settled that lawsuit. That showed me that her lawsuit had merit. She was speaking facts as to what had happened. And she made herself vulnerable by admitting things that happened to her that shouldn't have happened to her in a relationship with a man who she at the time considered loved her, and he probably at the time considered that he loved her too. She loved him and he loved her. Right. But this other situation that just came about, I want y'all to pay attention, man. I'm not saying that the guy, Lil Rob, doesn't have a case, but I did some research. And the research that I found was that earlier, before any accusations were being made in regards to Sean Puffy Combs in dealing with this situation, it was over money that was owed to Lil Rob from Sean Combs, from Puffy, right? Right? Okay. And Lil Rob was trying to raise money on what's the website called again, man? That they try to GoFundMe. He was trying to raise a GoFundMe campaign to try to get money so that he could file a lawsuit against Sean Puffy Combs. Because as everybody know, Puffy got deep pockets and great lawyers and all of that, right? So now I watched that and I seen what that was. Thank you, Charlo. I appreciate you, man. I watched that and I seen what that was, right? So now it started over Lil Rob being owed money and him wanting to be paid, him feeling like they were trying to take his publishing and all of these things. This is before all of these other accusations and things that came out that were filed in this civil lawsuit, right? Now, I want to take your mind somewhere else different, right? I want to take your mind somewhere else different. Sean Puffy Combs has 2 twin daughters. He has Christian, he has Justin, and I think Albie Shaw's son, he had claimed as his own son also, right? Listen to me. Those kids, I think Sean Puffy Combs' daughters are probably like 18. I don't know how old his other kids are, right? Because I want you to understand something, how somebody can take something. I looked at that civil filing, and a lot of stuff that was being alleged in the words in the civil filing, I did not see in the pictures. I don't know if y'all seen that. It was alleged that underage kids or girls or whatever you want to call them were at the party. When I looked at those pictures, I really didn't see anybody underage. I seen what would be considered kids that were there with Sean Puffy Combs's kids. I seen that. And I'm not, like I said, I had to go a little bit deeper than most people. Like I said, I'm not here to slander nobody. I'm not here to say, yo, Puffy is this and that. I don't have no feelings. I don't have no animosity towards Puffy. None of that. I just looked at what was really being present from what I see. Sean Combs has twin daughters, and his other sons are in the age around or whatever, young kids. Now, to have kids and to have people come over to your house because your daddy has a big house, we could have a party, we could have whatever. Do I think that Sean Puffy Combs brung young girls over to his house after dealing with some of the finest women that he's dealt with? I'm not saying that he's not a person who likes to participate in other activities when dealing with his woman. May have another girl come in, may like a dude watching dude hit his girl, or whatever he liked to do. That's not a crime, right? Unless it's done against the young lady's will. I seen the little situation with the girl, Young Miami, saying that she was around when the girl Gina Hung, whatever her name who was on the show with Tasha K, and she had came out and said that, yeah, Puffy was verbally abusive and blah, blah, blah. He tried to throw one of her heels at him. And so stuff that would normally go on in a relationship, you have an argument and y'all mad at each other, whatever. That sounds pretty normal to me, right? But Young Miami came out and was like, it was like as if they were fighting for the number one spot, if you will, in Puffy's life. And she was talking about, yeah, if I wanted you to give me fellatio, I would have told Sean to make you do it and blah, blah, blah. This sounds to me like there was a lot of stuff that was going on amongst grown adults in dealing with Sean Combs that was pretty much consensual, if you will, right? Now, Little Rod goes and deals with Puffy. He lived with Puffy. I'm not saying that he's wrong, but he alleged that there were underage people being provided with alcohol, right? And he's alleging that it was from Sean Puffy Combs because he was the person that owed Lil Rob money in publishing and so on and so forth, right? But Puffy has little kids around about the same age as some of the girls that, or one of the two of the girls that was in those pictures, right? And they look like, and it was other pictures of the girls like they coming from out of the store. Paparazzi had took pictures. It looked like the same young ladies, if you will, right? So that these allegations have been made and that there's nothing that has been really, truly, honestly been proven. And we've even seen people come online and uh, have a picture of a black jet, a jet, like, that they said was Puffy, and it was spotted in, in Turks and Caicos somewhere, or somewhere out the country, right? And then we have the actual photo of the border patrol and people that, when you're ready to fly out, he was ready to fly out from Florida at the Opelika, I believe, Opelika Executive Airport, like a private airport, right? We seen that the jet that Puffy was in was not a black jet. So we know that a lot of people have been capping and making up these stories and coming up with stuff just to come up with stuff. Let's just be clear, man. Let's just be honest, man. And you see when the law enforcement was there, it was a white jet with a blue tail that Puffy had chartered. It wasn't even his jet. It was a charter flight, right? So now we've been jumping to conclusions, a lot of us. And like I said, I'm going to look at the facts. The fact of the matter is Lil Rod made the accusations, but Lil Rod wanted his money at first, and he didn't make those accusations. It wasn't until later that he came out and said, yeah, I was this happened to me, blah, blah, blah. Puffy was trying to groom me, and so on and so on and so forth, right? None of that came out until Little Rob couldn't get his money. This is a fact, right? I'm not saying the man lying. I'm not saying he's telling the truth. I'm just saying when you look at it, and then to say that somehow there's been this sex trafficking thing going on. You go back to the Tupac situation and you look at what the media is doing right now to Sean Combs. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm saying that there has been no charges filed. I'm saying that we have not seen any evidence of anything in relation to sex trafficking, right? But remember the Tupac situation and the same thing. We had seen nothing in relation to rape in regards to Tupac. Absolutely not. For all we knew at the time when they said Tupac was doing that, we thought that it was a chick that was just, some random chick, and it happened. And they did not tell us that Tupac had a prior relationship with this young lady, and that would only come out later on. They wanted us to believe what they wanted us to believe when they wanted us to believe it, because they controlled the narrative, right? Right now, as of right now. And like I said, I'm not pointing to Puffy's innocence or his guilt at the end of the day. All of the other things that I spoke on in relation to Keefe D, in relation to the situation with Tupac, in relation to all of those things, I still wholeheartedly and stand by. But I just had to take a few steps back, and I thought about as it related to the Tupac situation. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about Fownie Willis and Nathan Wade, and everybody was talking about, because the media, right? Everybody was talking about, yeah, man, oh man, she shouldn't be on the case, and it was this, and they did that. When in fact, the lady that actually filed the case used one of Nathan Wade's former partners to get all of the information to go and then file a frivolous, fake, stalling time-wasting motion to try to get her thrown off the case. That's what that was all about. You gotta understand how the game is played. Now, the situation involving the young lady, the young man who got shot at the studio. Yeah, that, from what Lil Rod saying, he said he saw that. Yo, I believe that that's what that is. He's saying that, Puffy's son and Puffy was there in him and the boy come out shot. I believe that, right? Because Lil Rod said he was there, he's seen that, and this is what happened, and so on and so forth. But like I said, once again, when they went to Sean Combs's house, when they went to Puffy's house, they were looking for evidence that was basically in those filings, anything that could corroborate what Little Rob was saying in his civil lawsuit. That's what they were looking for. If they had charges against Puffy, best believe he'd be locked up right now. He'd be in jail right now, just like they locked up Jeffrey Epstein. And then now, once again, we have a situation where, in dealing with women of legal age, if you will, we haven't heard anybody come out yet and say, hey, you know what? I was underage. I was over there. Puffy tried to do X, Y, and Z. And we don't know if they will. It could happen. But as of yet, we have not heard any information in regards to that. And I'm just saying, because I look at it from anybody's perspective, and you should look at it from yours. You had, kids, and your kids' friends came over your house, and you had money, and so on and so forth. And like I said, you owe somebody money, and they start saying stuff that was about you that was unbecoming. Like I said, it's been known that Puffy had wild parties and all of that. That's never been a secret. You know what I mean? But it's also never been a criminal allegation in regards to the parties that he was having, right? Because it was understood that it was with grown adults. Cat Williams even just came out and recently said, yeah, I had to tell Puffy no. You know what I mean? From whatever perspective that Cat was speaking from. That's a fact. You understand what I'm saying? And Cat said he understood it from some other people that he understood that had been around and been to the parties. But there's never been anything related to sex trafficking or child sex trafficking or anything like that, right? Like I said, once again, we've heard a lot of people who have been around at the time. Listen to me, y'all. At the time, there was a lot of people who was around Puffy who claimed that Puffy was actually spiking drinks. But at the time that these people were around Puffy and he was spiking drinks, they didn't say anything about that. You understand what I'm saying? It's only now later that they come out and they say, okay, yeah, well, he was spiking drinks. And he might have been doing that, right? But the harm that was being done, while people say that they witnessed certain things and so on and so forth, while the harm was being done, while they watched or they had the information, that information was not reported at that particular time. So now we have accusations and allegations and things of that nature, right? And like I said, good, bad, or indifferent, whether he did it or not, I never witnessed it before, but you have certain people coming out saying, yo, that they witnessed it. And if that's true, it's messed up because it shouldn't happen, right? But like I said, at the time, that it was going on, I think there needed to be something done at that particular time in which the people who may have been harmed or would have been harmed in that situation while it was going on, while the people were watching it and being done, it couldn't have happened to nobody else, if you will, from that perspective, right? So, yeah, absolutely. Natural immunity. A lot of people was partying with Puffy. And, I guess as long as the bag was in their favor, you know what I mean? It was all good. But when the bag ain't in their favor no more, they speak and see, like I said, once again, my main man, he posted this post. He posted a post, man, today, and I'm gonna read it for y'all. You know what? And because he's actually correct in what he's saying about what he's saying, and I'm gonna give it to y'all from that perspective. He said a lot of y'all don't know who your real friends are, because, or who's a real good person or not, because their money, because their loyalty is based on money. You hear that? Yeah. It's a lot of people don't know who real good people are, or they can discern whether the person's a really good person or a bad person, because their loyalty to the person is based on money. You see what I'm saying? This reigns true. Like I said, once again, if you go back to what happened to Tupac when the situation happened, dude, I'm telling you, if a lot of y'all don't know, man, they demonized Tupac in the media. Only to come to find out that everything that they've said that happened that Tupac did, he actually didn't even do. As a matter of fact, there wasn't even no intercourse on that night from Tupac. They didn't tell you that. They didn't come out with that when the verdict came down. You understand what I'm saying? But at the whole same time that it was going on, they had rode the train as if Tupac had, he was this monster. He was this animal. That's what they had us believing. Right? Tretch did the interview over on the Art of Dialogue, and Tretch was talking about how, like, when they were shooting the movie in New York, people were laughing at him, laughing at Tupac. Ah, ha, ha, ha. You a rapist. You're this, you're that, and so on and so forth, right? Come to find out, none of what really they were saying or the charges that they brought against Tupac was true. I'm just asking people right now in relation to any situation that we hearing right now. Like the Fonnie Willis. They was like, Fonnie Willis did this, and they had us believing, oh man, her having a relationship with Nathan Wade. No, wasn't really. She didn't do anything wrong. Okay, cool. He can't be on the case no more. He resigned from the case. Now she can continue to prosecute. But that wasn't what it was about. It was about how strong her case was. Her case was a case of 3 lawyers who were already on Donald Trump's team at that particular time already pled guilty. If her case was weak, if she did not know what she was doing, it wouldn't have happened that way. You got to understand who you are and what your power is, man. And that there's people always trying to gun for you and come for you and make these crazy accusations in regards to whatever. And like I said, whether it's true or it's not, you can indict a ham sandwich. I'm not speaking to Puffy's innocence or guilt. I'm talking about the facts. The fact of the matter is, Puffy got young kids at his house, as you seen yesterday. As you seen yesterday, do they might have parties over at the house? Yeah. Do they might invite people over at the house? Yeah. Do they might have busloads of people come to the house? Yeah. Because if you look on that street, think about it for a minute. Because I was thinking, I'm like, well, if you look on the street where you live, you wouldn't want 20 or 30 cars parked on the street, because 20 or 30 cars can't fit in the driveway, as we seen with the armored vehicles. So I start thinking, I'm like, yeah, you can bring people over. Yo, y'all gonna park down here, and the bus gonna come pick y'all up. Y'all can park in that parking lot and bring it up. It's no different than when people used to throw those Hollywood parties. Anybody familiar with Hollywood and remember back in the day when people would have mansion parties and they would just rent out the mansion? You would have to park like in the parking lot somewhere, and they would have like little shuttles drive you up to the party, right? Right. So, like I said, once again, when people say young girls, the people saying, they forget that the man got young kids. He got kids, and they got friends and friends of friends. Like I said, I'm not saying that. And so, like I said, when the allegation was made in the lawsuit, I'm like, okay, thinking about that. But like I said, the situation involving the boy Little G getting shot and all of that, like I said, a Lil Rob was there for that. You know what I mean? I think that has some merit to it from that perspective. Like I said, we haven't heard the guy Lil G, so whatever happened with that situation from that perspective. You know what I mean? Like I said, do I think that Sean Puffy Combs has something to do with the situation involving Tupac? Yeah. Do I think that Keefe D was telling the truth about the situation involving them meeting at Greenblatt's? Yeah, I do. Absolutely, positively, I do. You know what I mean? And the reason why I do believe that, because Sean Puffy Combs was yelling out things on Life After Death in regards to, we coming for you. We coming for you. And all of the other things that he yelled out. I'm just talking about being able to have a discerning eye as it is for truth and fact. You know, if somebody guilty of something, if he did something, yeah, okay, cool, that's what he did. But because somebody makes an allegation against you, me, or anybody else that they feel like they want to reserve the right for judgment, and like I said, from that perspective, because what they saying is this man, they trying to paint Puffy as some kind of you know, sex trafficker. Sex trafficking is kind of pimping and pandering, if you will, from that perspective. You know what I mean? You know, and like I said, Puffy got enough money where he ain't got to do that. He, like I said, if they saying that he paid people and people was on the payroll, you know what I mean? Yeah, they was on the payroll. They agreed to be on the payroll. They wasn't handcuffed to the payroll. Think about it, y'all. You wasn't handcuffed to the payroll. You agreed to be on the payroll. You agreed to get paid to do whatever he wanted you to do. And you was with it. So much so, when you looked at the situation over there involving when they were searching the house, there was a thing like a box. They had a bunch of documents. I guarantee you that in some of those in them boxes were non-disclosure agreements, NDAs. So when you come up to the house, whatever, what's going on, you got to sign an NDA before you get your money, that you can't speak out about what happened here tonight. I'm sure they got NDAs. I'm almost certain that they got NDAs. You understand what I'm saying? Because it would only be smart from that perspective. That's why I think we haven't heard anybody come and speak out from that perspective. He said after 2 checks, did he want to return on his investment? No, like I said, I don't disagree with Gene Deal and what Gene Deal said he witnessed. No, I don't. Like I said, once again, this is not about disagreeing with nobody. This is about looking at things um from an objective point of view, right? And like I said, Gene said he witnessed certain things. I'm not against what Gene said he witnessed, but like I said, at the time that he witnessed those things, my question is, what was he doing about it? You understand what I'm saying? Or was he able to do anything about it? Or did he tell anybody about it? Why that? Because like I said, if that was the case and people were being harmed at that particular time, it was something that could be done where they wouldn't be harmed. You know what I mean? But like I said, do I believe what Gene Deal's saying? Absolutely. You know what I mean? I don't refute what he's saying, but like I said, once again, at the time, because the question will come out, the question will be asked. Well, Mr. Deal, at the time that you said that you were witnessing these things, what did you do? You know what I mean? That's always a question that people like to ask, from that perspective. So, like I said, I'm not here to refute what Gene Deal is saying. No, not like I said, I agree with him. But like I said, you also you have to understand that from that perspective. But this is not about Gene Deal. This is about when somebody makes an accusation or allegation against someone who is popular and so on and so forth. And like I said, Puffy's responsible for his behavior. But if the behavior does not involve child sex trafficking or none of those things, like I said, once again, we know that the women, and I just go by a person's track record, man. You gotta kind of go by people's track record too. If somebody says something about you and you have friends and people who knew who you were and what you were about, right? You know what I mean? You would hope that they would. What we say? What we got? Misa, we got Kim Porter, we got other women, the girl Gina, we got little young Miami, we got and other women that we don't know that Sean Combs has been involved with, right? You know what I mean? And so from that perspective, none of these women, even Cassie, and we got to deal with the Cassie situation. Even Cassie in her situation, she never said that he was involved in any child sex trafficking or nothing like that in her lawsuit. It didn't involve anything like that. And I think that if it was, or sex trafficking, anything like that, and I think that if that was the case, then it would have said that in her lawsuit before it would have said it in anybody's lawsuit. She was there for years. and she was supposedly his girlfriend. You understand what I'm saying? But she did say about her having to, be with other men while he would videotape it. You know what I mean? You know, and so, and I wonder how long, after that had happened, did, you know, the relationship continue and she was in it and so on and so forth. And like I said, she can file a lawsuit or civil suit at any time she wanted to from that perspective. I don't question that. But like I said, she didn't allude to anything like that being in there from that perspective, or anything like that happening. You see what I'm saying? And so, like I said, when the underage thing was brought up, that's what the Homeland Security, they going in there and they looking for, like, any type of video, any type of whatever. Now you got to go find the people that you see in the video that you deem to be underage. How do you prove that they were drinking alcohol? How do you prove that they were being given drugs or whatever was said in the lawsuit involving that? How do you prove that they drink spiked drinks? You got to be able, it ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. You can make any kind of accusation that you want, So from that perspective, that's what I'm saying. But you go back to the Tupac situation, right? You know, like he said, they want to see me locked in chains, dropped in shame. You understand what I'm saying? When the accusations that were made against Tupac, we come to find out basically were not true. What was said to had happened involving the Tupac situation was not true, and that's not what he was convicted of. Tupac was convicted of what is tantamount to touching a girl on her butt. And this is a young lady that he had an extensive relationship with, but we didn't know that at the time, right? We didn't know that at the time, but it came out later that he had a relationship with this young lady from that perspective. So that's all I'm saying is, before, and I understand the internet, and I understand, trying to be on the story. I understand all of that. Once again, people got to understand. You got to understand. You see stories, and you can go on YouTube right now, and you can find people, who make these pictures of a black jet. Oh, Puffy's jet spotted in, Antigua or somewhere like that. And when we looked at what was really going on, and he was in Opelika Airport in Florida, when the authorities pulled up on him, we seen that he was about to board a white jet, right? And he had his daughters with him, and they were about to go on vacation, or for spring break vacation. They had the, Puffy on the run. He's running. It was all kinds of stuff. And like I said, I understand what that is, to get clicks and views. I get it. But then there comes a time where your story, after time goes by, and when you looked at, you lose credibility, as a YouTuber, when you coming out and you presenting this false information to get somebody to click on your story, or your video. And then after that, you don't become a reliable place where you can have a decent dialogue, and where people actually look at you and you have credibility, or your channel has credibility. You see what I'm saying? So the black jet, and all of that, and that's the part that I'm talking about. And so now, the same thing with the Puffy thing. Like I say, as you hear in the media right now, oh, child sex trafficking. There has been no charges filed, right? There has been no evidence shown, right? Or sex trafficking or anything like that. There has been no evidence shown that Sean Puffy Combs did any kind of sex trafficking. The only thing that has been made has been allegations in a civil lawsuit, right? Which stem from Lil Rod not getting paid what he felt like he was owed in regards to, working on the album and stuff. And then come the lawsuit. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not speaking to whether Sean Puffy Combs is innocent or guilty. That's going to be something that, he going to have to deal with if there's anything that's found at that house or any of those houses to be of a criminal nature, if you will, right? But if not, then what? Everybody was saying whatever they were saying, you know what I mean? Now, oh, don't pay attention to my old video, you know what I mean? And so, like I said, I like to always, speak on what it is I'm seeing, you know what I mean? Like he said, Lil Rod said, my question was in the last video, does Puffy have dirt on him? He said he's seen the tape with Stevie J. And like even that, does Puffy have dirt on him? I'm never going to make any kind of crazy accusation about somebody, and I don't really have the evidence to do so. Like I said, he's saying, Lucian Charles Grange, the guy who's ahead, the CEO of Universal Music Group, was there. Him and Puffy went into, the bedroom and wouldn't come out for hours. Now, if you listen to how that's said, right, you would think that Puffy and Lucian Grange got some kind of strange relationship. We don't know what they were doing. They could have been listening to music and drinking wine. We don't know. They could have had girls in the room with them or whatever. You know what I mean? It could have been anything going on. We don't know. So when somebody says, "Oh yeah, I seen them going to the what's the name," and they ain't come out for a couple hours, but damn, why was you clocking the time? It's the question, not what they were doing, what you should have been doing. You know what I mean? So there's always two sides to the story, man. Like I said, my thing is I'm just looking at it from a real perspective, and I just had to step back and was like, well, hold on. I looked at the raid and I was like, they marching Puffy's kids out in handcuffs and all of that, right? It's like there was a girl, a couple other people, and so on and so forth. I'm like, well, Puffy got young kids, so if his kids are young, then they would be, young people coming over the house because he got young kids. You know what I mean? I don't know about underage or how old they were. You know what I mean? His daughter's like 18, 19. They got friends. They would come over, girl, we're gonna have a party over my house, my daddy house, ba da 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 da, and so on and so forth, right? And people would come over the house. He got a big ass house, just like he would throw parties, right? So, like I said, at the end of the day, man, I just sat back and I thought about the Tupac situation and how they demonized Tupac back in the early 90s. And they told us that Tupac was a rapist. They told us Tupac, they tried to paint him as this thug, criminal, just, all out bad guy. And when we come to find out at the end of what it really wasn't that, so much so that, he was only convicted for touching the girl on the buttocks that he had sexual relations with for quite some time at that particular point, right? And nobody else went to jail from that perspective other than Tupac. And then once again, most people don't know this, that Tupac actually settled a civil lawsuit that the young lady filed against him. Did you know that? See, they didn't even look. A lot of the stuff that didn't even make the news. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. So, like I said, once again, I wish Puffy, I wish Lil Rod the best. I hope that they can come to some kind of consensus on whatever the situation is. And if there's anything criminal, then Puffy brought it on himself. But as of right now, there's nothing but mere allegations, man. There's mere allegations being made about all of these things. And like I said, if anybody knows anything, if there was any kind of evidence of any kind of child sex trafficking ring or sex trafficking ring, when they went up in that house the other day, and they stopped Puffy at the airport, you best believe he would have been in handcuffs. Who Rain G4, who fine as hell? Who you talking about? Absolutely, Mr. Block Ice 22. Shout out to Joshua's Dream. Shorty, the kid, but he was from Baltimore too. Shout out to Baltimore City, Maryland, DC, and all of that. Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't even look. I mean, I look at people's actions, man, and then sometimes their actions make them unattractive, if you will. I'm gonna leave that with that. Like I said, sometimes optically pleasing, be beautiful looking, and all of that, but a lot of times, man, people's actions make them unattractive, if you will. They do ugly things. You know what I mean? And like I said, once again, I'm not to say that her or anybody else or whatever, but like I said, I just know the facts and what was alleged. And Tupac stated that until the day that he died, that they put him in jail for something that he did not do. And he didn't. You know what I mean? So, from that perspective. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video, man, and give you the contrast. Like I said, once again, what's going on with Puffy right now? There have been no charges. And you got to look at Tupac. Tupac his situation involved criminal charges already, and they didn't hesitate to lock Tupac up. They did not hesitate. They did not hesitate. I'm talking about everything happened the same day. You know what I mean? Lock him up, charge him. You know what I mean? Without even really trying to get to the bottom of what it is. So if anything is going on, then Puffy's basically being given a grace period. But like I said, as we know of now, there's been no evidence to prove anything. You know what I mean? Yeah, if he done something wrong, Slaughter, like I said, I'm not, like I said, right now, it's alleged in a civil lawsuit, right? It's alleged in a civil lawsuit. We're going to see just how serious this is. Because look, Slaughter, check it out. Puffy settled the lawsuit tomorrow, right? Puffy settled the lawsuit tomorrow with Lil Rod. Give him what he wants, right? It's settled. Does the investigation still continue? Or do they stop the investigation and say, you know what? It really wasn't nothing there. He does have wild parties. He does have this, that, and the other. But the guy just wanted some money. Now, it's all said and done. Remember, the girl who went on Tasha K, the girl who was Puffy's girlfriend, the girl Gina, right? The girl Gina, and she's an attractive young lady too. She was saying stuff that had happened, but then after she went on Tasha K, she went back with Puffy. She went on Tasha K and was saying Puffy was abusive. He was verbally abusive. He tried to throw one of my heels at me and blah, 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 blah. And all of these other things, right? But do you know, after she went on Tasha K, she went back with Puffy? I'm asking you, did y'all know that? You understand what I'm saying? The young lady, listen to me, y'all. This is what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. The young lady, Gina, who looks like I don't know, she's Vietnamese, Filipino, I don't know what she is. She's a very nice looking young lady, right? Listen to me. She went on Tasha K and she made a whole bunch of accusations against Puffy. Listen to me, man. I'm just trying to get y'all to don't hate Puffy because he's rich and famous and got money and all of that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get you to understand something. She went on Tasha K and made all of these accusations against Puffy when Puffy stopped dealing with her, saying he was verbally abusive, he was physically abusive, he did all of these things to her, and blah, blah, blah. After she got off of Tasha K, she went back to him. Now, I'm not speaking to anybody's mental state or what they're struggling with or what they're going through, right? But a conscious decision to go on to a YouTube channel and say that somebody did something to you, right, is a conscious decision to say, you know what, I understand that what they did to me was wrong. I'm going out, I'm going public, and hopefully they would never go back to that situation. You would hope so, correct? Right? Okay, now, listen to what I'm saying. The young lady, Gina, went back to Puffy and then came out and made a statement and said that he's been good to me. We are very good friends. And I'm paraphrasing. We are very good friends. And that she basically loves him. I'm asking y'all the same thing, man, to use some type of discernment in relation to what it is and the information that you're being fed. Know that a civil lawsuit is all about money. It's not about criminal activity. And to be able to make a civil lawsuit spicy enough, with hope enough that one would want to settle, right? Cassie, in her situation, had real hard truth and evidence that Sean P. Diddy Combs did not want to divulge to the public. Therefore, I think that was probably the fastest lawsuit ever settled in the history of civil lawsuits, the one that he had with Cassie. But the situation deal with Little Rod came about, and Little Rod said so. When I watched the video, when he was trying to do a GoFundMe to raise money to file a lawsuit against Sean Puffy Combs because he felt like he had been wrong involving his publishing and the pay that he was due for the album. That's how it started. All of this other stuff came up later, right? And like I said, the young lady who was dealing with Puffy went on Tasha K, said a whole bunch of, salacious things about him. But then a week later, 2 weeks later, she was back with him. He was buying her Gucci again and all, the new bags and all of the, you know what I mean? All of the new stuff and, down and dirty. So much so that Little Miami came out and made a statement in regards to, who was actually the main girl, if you will, at that particular time. Right? Which is crazy to me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? But like I say, as it be. And so I'm saying to you the same thing in regards to the Tupac situation with the young lady in Tupac. You want some other truth that nobody's really trying to look at? The young lady that said Tupac had did something to her actually took a picture next to a Tupac mural and put it on her Instagram. Did y'all hear what I just said? I said the young lady that made the accusations against Tupac, for which Tupac went to jail, actually took a picture next to a Tupac mural and put it on her Instagram. This is the guy that she said that did something to her. How you celebrating you celebrating the perpetrator? You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So one must really understand what it is and use a discerning eye. Like I said, I'm not speaking to Puffy's innocence, guilt, or otherwise. I just looked at the Tupac situation and I just weighed it out. I was like, man, when Tupac actually caught a charge, I mean, they came down on him hard. It was like, this blah, 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 and so on and so forth. I was like, oh, wow, only to come to find out, right? It wasn't all true. But by that time, the damage was done. That's true. Outlaw 24, am I lying? That's true. Ayana, yeah, she did that, huh, man? The young lady that accused Tupac of doing something to her, after all of it happened, took a picture next to a Tupac mural and posted it on her Instagram. None of y'all seen that, though. Rain G4, you seen it. Outlaw 24, you seen it. Yeah, you saw the picture on the net too. Absolutely, Twan Mac, right? You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm talking about. And so I'm saying the same thing about Puffy. Young lady went on Tasha K, said the same thing. There wasn't no criminal charges involved. But like I said, if you wanted somebody to be able to try to cancel somebody, right? You make accusations about them. But 2 weeks later, she was back with Puffy. Like, come on, man. Come on, make it make sense. Make it make sense. No, I don't have to interview Gene Deal. I think all the dialogue, he do a good job of interviewing Gene Deal. You know what I mean? And like I say, they do great numbers. And I think, like I say, I think Gene Deal, he, for the most part, he understood what was going on, over there with Art. You know what I mean? I mean, with Puffy, should I say? And so, like I said, they do great numbers over there. So, like I said, I don't need to interview Gene Deal. You know what I mean? But like I said, like, for anybody, I just want to know, like, at the time, what was he doing? Did he try to do anything when he said, like he said, the drinks were being spiked and stuff like that? I just want to know from that perspective what was going on in his mind. What did he think? The same thing with Mark Curry. You know what I mean? Like I said, once again, from that perspective. Well, it Outlaw 24, it doesn't even matter. Like, but I mean, are we celebrating, the people who have wronged us from that perspective? Or are we really mad and and upset and hurt and as she claimed to be when she did the Vlad interview? You understand what I'm saying? I'm just looking for consistency. I'm not looking for nobody to be no superhero, man. you know. So like I said, yeah, like I told you, that was the reason why I made the other video. Does Puffy have dirt on them? You understand what I'm saying? You gotta, man, look, y'all, it's a lot of video out there. It's been a lot of years and things like that. Once again, you know, um, a lot of people are missing. People, they have optical vision, if you will, tunnel vision, if you will, from that perspective. So, I'd like to think that at the end of the day, hopefully the truth will come to the light. You know what I mean? And that's basically it. That's all we can hope. Yeah, she basically did expose herself. Outlaw 24, you know what I mean? But like I said, when you talk about the bigger picture of what this really means is we got to be very careful about the information that we take in as truth. You know, we got to be very careful about the intentions of how we can be manipulated and controlled. And now, with information being so readily available, people take things and they'll make a video and they won't have all of the information. I just told y'all, y'all seen the videos, people putting the, Puffy jet spotted in Antigua, the black jet. But when it came to the real evidence being presented to us, Puffy was actually on a white a private jet that was not his jet, and it was actually a chartered flight with his daughters, right? You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. You got to be very careful about the information that you take in. Right now, this is just a civil lawsuit. And the pomp and circumstance and the hype and the media and all of these things that go along with this, he's a high profile guy. But like I said, once again, there's been no criminal charges and no evidence presented about anything. People come every 5 minutes, witness talks out. And I'm like, look, man, witness talks out about what? How they participated in some kind of, threesome or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, he made me do it. What you mean? What you talking about? When? The first time or the second time? Like I said, yeah, absolutely. My loyalty is to Miss Matthews. My loyalty is to I love Tupac. My loyalty is to the facts. It's to the facts. My loyalty for as much as the time that I spent with Tupac and we talked or whatever, my loyalty at the end of the day, because none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. Let's be clear about that. You know what I mean? And never put that thing on where we, any of us masquerading like we perfect. You know what I mean? And Tupac doesn't need none of our loyalty. What we need to do is make sure that when something is happening, or what I think we should do is something is happening to any of us, right? That we speak up for each other. That we speak up for each other. That we speak up for each other's character and what's really going on. Absolutely. Not thinking emotionally, but thinking logically. So that's how I look at it. You know what I mean? When I talk about the Tupac situation, I'm talking about it factually from what's been said, people been saying, how it's been, what's the name, and then basically, giving you the opportunity to say, hey, what you believe. If you believe this, then okay, cool. I ain't tell you what to believe. If you believe that, okay, cool. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. All I'm trying to do is offer the facts and see how that jobs with everybody's understanding of what they think really is true. You know? Dad, please, Dad. We're not here to try to tell nobody what to do. Everybody can speak whatever they want to speak. But I respect what you're saying, but everybody can speak what they want to speak. Like I said, Tupac's name is in conjunction with Sean P. Diddy Combs, based on the fact of the matter of what Keefe D said, based on the fact of the matter that they had history before they were enemies. So please don't offer up this surreptitious thing, and where it kind of hurts somebody's feelings to say Tupac in the same name as Puffy. When we hear when Keefe D trial starts, you will hear Sean Puffy Combs' name mentioned in the same sentence as Tupac. We not here to tell people what they can and cannot say. That's what we're not gonna do. You can say whatever you want, Dave. I ain't gonna silence you. I ain't gonna X you from the chat. You know what I mean? But like I said, at the end of the day, we must speak truthfully and honestly about what we understand. And like I say, I'm here to listen to anybody and what they got to say. You know what I mean? And like I said, take the time to sit down and analyze this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. But analyze the two situations right now. Sean P. Diddy Combs is facing a civil lawsuit that started from him owing one of the producers on his record some money, and the guy was trying to raise money through a GoFundMe to sue Sean Puffy Combs, but felt it was more advantageous to go file a civil lawsuit, right? Alleging, he was owed money and so on, but he made a whole bunch of other allegations and accusations in that civil lawsuit that are now being investigated to see if there's any merit to what he's saying in regards to what he witnessed, right? There's nothing criminal been found yet. But look at the media and how they keep touting that word out there, sexual trafficking, right? When there's been no such charge or no such evidence presented to that fact. The same thing with Tupac. When Tupac, the situation happened with him, they were like, yo, Tupac, the rapper Tupac Shakur arrested for rape and da-da-da-da-da, when that did not happen. But we did not know that until they had already demonized Tupac, right? And slandered his name. The hints for the tag on the video, locked in chains and dropped in shame. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.